Welcome to Minor League Mondays, the Cincinnati Reds minor league podcast. We have so many things to get to, Ricky. There are so many different topics to head to. Jose Acuña wins Pitcher of the Week. We've got a guy that's killing it in the ACL. We got a couple rehab starts to talk about to some major leaguers that may be back with the Cincinnati Reds sooner than later. And then just guys who just keep on raking. The notes are here. Ricky's here. Let's start the show.
Let's go.
Welcome to Minor League Mondays, a Cincinnati Reds minor league podcast, hosted by myself, Roger Strauss, and Reds on SI writer Ricky Logan. Back in the booth, back here to talk about the minor leagues for the Cincinnati Reds. Ricky, it's been a pretty decent week. These guys are mashing. These guys are pitching well. There's guys that are getting promotions that haven't seen the majors, so that's a nice little feel-good story for your Cincinnati Reds as he might make his debut as we are on the air, Mr. Julian Garcia, if you're not familiar. But before we get into all that, Ricky, how's your week been?
Been doing well. Happy to be back. We're in the saddle again, and ready to talk some minor league baseball.
Yeah. There's a lot to get to. We got all of our affiliates plus the DSL and ACL that were in action this week, doing all sorts of good things. I mean, just to get through a couple notes, the ACL the DSL had some decent performances, some guys that were in and out of the lineup and what have you. We thought that maybe there was some guys that may come stateside, and there was one guy that did come stateside that we'll talk about even more so, a pitcher that now is on our radar because he's just been pitching out of his mind. But, what were your first initial thoughts of the DSL week?
Yeah, I'm really, really excited about Yadier Gutierrez. Like he is someone that's really caught my eye over the last week. This past week, he slashed 310, 390, 560 with a double and a home run. And he's just 17 years old. And, they're just kids. We talk about it all the time, but like some guys just stand out over others, and he's been one along with Angel Nunez Jr. and Jose Colina and a couple other guys, just as like the younger guys, and I guess first year players to be technical about it. But yeah, cool week from them. On Monday, the DSL Reds won 4-2 over the Dodgers, but unfortunately the Rojos lost 4-3. But yeah, overall, like there were some good performances this week. It's pretty awesome to see. And like I said, Gutierrez, someone that wasn't really a highly paid prospect going into the international signing period. I think he's one of the lower end guys. But yeah, I mean, he's performing well, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. I think he had a home run on Saturday, I believe. So he's been doing pretty well. Hitting the ball. I think his average is at 375 or something in that range. So, yeah, shout out to Yadier Gutierrez, definitely getting on the radar. Oh, and Monday he also had a home run, 1 for 3 of the RBI. The guy I wanted to touch on real quickly, a guy that's already in the top 30 for the Reds, top 30 for our Red Hot Reds, top 30 prospect list. Libert's Aponte is starting to come on little by little. Not lighting the world on fire, hitting like 400 for the week, but for the last 7 days, the last 4 games, he's hit 286 and raised his batting average up from like 230, 240 range to like 250, 260, respectable kind of batting average. 4 RBIs, going 4 for 14 on the week. So it's a little bit better. Walked 5 times, struck out 5 times. So a little bit better out of Libert's Aponte. We want to see that kind of upward trajectory because he had kind of come out the gates really, really slow for the DSL Reds.
Yeah, and Carlos Hernandez, another one of those first-year guys. He's on like a 5-game hitting streak right now. 317 average, 830 OPS. Doesn't have a home run yet, but 5 stolen bases. He was someone I think me and you were both pretty high on coming out of the signing period. I think you were really high on him, and he's performing. He lots of doubles. Doesn't have a triple yet, but he's someone that I think you kind of profiled as like a third baseman. He plays shortstop, but with the amount of shortstops that we have, you kind of have to slide guys over, and I think he's built for it. So, and he just looks like a gamer. Social media, he's always hyping us up on social media on Instagram, and if we ever get the translator stuff down, we'd love to have him on and a bunch of other DSL guys too, because I want to know what their process is like, going through what they have to go through to get here. And yeah, I mean, just him and like you said, Laponte kind of breaking through finally, and Alexander Cuello, he's someone that's I think he was one of the cheapest signings that we had over the signing period, and he's hitting over 300, and I think if I remember right, I think Carlos Hernandez has an on base percentage of 500. It's like he's just incredible. Good eye for the strike zone, and it's difficult because when you're young hitters, you want to swing the bat, and in the DSL, you're not getting a lot of guys that throw strikes. So when you're given strikes, you hit them, and when you're not given strikes, you don't swing at them, and that's when those players kind of stand out. And he's been one of those guys. The Reds have a few DSL guys that are in the 17-year-old range that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And the other guy that I wanted to kind of profile there, a couple pictures for the DSL Rojos. Luis Delgado went on Tuesday, 4 innings, 1 hit, 0 earned runs. Had a weird stat line of 4 walks to 0 strikeouts for your DSL Rojos. But then also another guy that's been pitching really well is Starlin Alberto. On Saturday, 4 innings out of relief, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, no walks. On the season, 0.96 ERA. And that's just outstanding stuff, especially because he's on the other way. He wasn't like Luis Delgado with a bunch of walks and no strikeouts. We like those guys, the Iker Radonas that have very little walks to high strikeouts, and that's the type of stuff we want to see out of the DSL pitchers, is that lack of command, or that strong command, that lack of walks. Because as you pointed out a lot in the show, it's difficult when they're down there being teenagers to get the ball just over the plate sometimes. So it's good to see that we got a couple pitchers that do that right off the bat.
Yeah, and David Mendoza was another guy. He pitched in that same game you were talking about. On the season, in seven and a third innings, he's got 4 strikeouts, a 2.45 ERA, a 1.36 WHIP. Just first year DSL guy, also 192 batting average against him. It's hard to judge these guys. Like some guys, like Iker Radona, really stand out over some. He's kind of one that's kind of caught my eye, and yeah, it's just you really don't know what you have until you get stateside, which we're kind of seeing from Starlin Torres. We're seeing Iker Radona pitch really well in the ACL, but you really don't know what you have until you start facing like more elite level hitters that are more seasoned, I guess. And you have guys that swing at strikes, that are going to hit strikes, and you never know what you're going to have.
Yeah, one guy that is also doing the same thing that we've been talking about: low walks, lots of strikes, and we're probably going to talk about him also in the ACL, because as I alluded to earlier in the show, we did have our first graduate from the DSL to stateside in Johan Cabeza, a guy that I'm really excited about, seeing that he is our first DSL player, at least that's so far in this 2026 season, coming stateside. But he pitched on Monday for the DSL Rojos and skipped the Reds, DSL Reds, to get onto the ACL Reds later this week. But on Monday, I believe he went 5 innings, 1 hit, I believe, and 4 strikeouts. So this is a guy that I think we're going to be talking about a lot going forward. He's, again, the first guy from Dominican Summer League to make it over. And I think there was a weird thing, anecdote where he got somehow added to the Louisville roster in the transaction logs, but they cleaned that up. It was not to be that a guy from the DSL Rojos is going to go straight into Triple-A, because that'd be kind of crazy just to think about it that way. But he has been good enough. Yeah, he's been good enough to be in the ACL. and pitched pretty well. And we'll get into that in the ACL segment on how well he did in his first time out for the ACL Reds. But yeah, lots of positive things to say about Johan Cabeza.
Yeah, I mean he's been really good and deserving of that promotion. I still don't know all the ins and outs of when and how they can promote these guys. If there's an age limit or anything like that, I'm assuming you got to be 18 to get up there, just because you got to be an adult to, like, I guess, get a visa in the United States. I'm assuming. So you probably have to be 18, but yeah, I mean, we'll probably see that with Angel Nunez next year. He probably start in the DSL, and he'll probably move up pretty soon.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Anything else about the DSL before we move it on to ACL Reds?
No.
Yeah, the ACL was an interesting week. Like I had said, that Johan Cabeza got moved up and pitched for your ACL Reds on Monday, doing the 5 innings, 1 hit, 4 strikeouts. Another big name pitched for your ACL Reds this week. I don't know if you heard of this guy, Ricky. It's Christian Hunter Greene. I think he's going to turn out to be okay. Pretty good prospect.
Yeah,
We got
pretty good prospect. Prospect of the week?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, gosh, I can't imagine. I made this comment in last night's show. Can you imagine seeing Ellie in the box as a Triple-A pitcher and being like, okay, great. Like, this is going to go well. Maybe they, since they're almost major leaguers, maybe they have a little more juice and they feel like, yeah, I can get this guy out. I'm one step away from, the show. But take that now back to the ACL, the complex league, where guys are coming over like Johan Cabeza at 18, 19 years old. And then they see on the mound, 25, 26-year-old, Cy Young votes winning, ace of the staff of the Cincinnati Reds, Christian Hunter Greene, throwing, gas every time. Like, I can't imagine that. They got 1 hit on him, and I feel like that they probably celebrated because that's pretty good.
It was probably like a bleeder up the middle or something too.
Who knows? Swinging bunt, you know what I mean? Like the catcher
Yeah.
wasn't ready to get out and pick it up, and Hunter Greene wasn't ready to field it and all that. And that maybe I didn't see the highlight of that, but yeah, Hunter Greene pitched. Also got a guy that's been moved down from the Tortugas to ACL, has been playing really, really well. I think there was a couple of promotions back up. I want to say Arnaldo Lantigo went back up. Pablo Nunez is up to Daytona, so there's some movement going on there, and we might see some more in the next couple of days since we're at the halfway mark of the minor league season. Nothing so far, at least for some of the guys that we were kind of suspecting. But before we get into all that, Ricky, what was your kind of first takeaways from the ACL Reds?
Yeah, so Steele Hall is just great. He's going to be a really good player. I think he could skip the ACL or skip low A and go straight to high A, and would be just fine. But he's not, because the Reds are just slow with their movements. But Donnie Aguilera pitched very well. He gave up 7 hits. 2 of them were home runs, but 3 earned runs, a walk, 5 strikeouts in 4 innings. Looked pretty good. And then Colina in that same game pitched an inning, 3 hits, 1 run, 2 strikeouts, no walks. Really good to see. I'd rather see guys give up hits than walk a bunch of guys at this level, just because you're at least you're throwing strikes for the most part. And then Eli Pitts is probably one of the steals of the drafts for the Reds, just based on where he fell. I'm just surprised about how quickly he's developed into a good hitter. 313 average, 2 home runs, a 929 OPS, and just 67 at bats. Like you remember, he didn't play last year, so this is his first taste of professional ball out of high school, and he's performing. And he could be one of those guys that goes up to Daytona and give these guys a real shot in the arm, because they could use it for sure. And Mason Neville has really turned it up since he's come back up to, or sent back down to the ACL. Just he's striking out less. His strikeout percentage in the ACL is just 24%. For context, he was at 43% strikeout rate in Daytona. So it was pretty bad. I'm glad that they were able to send him down and kind of work on what he was going through. Just relax him a little bit, take some pressure off of him, get him back down there, and just worry about hitting strikes. And seeing strikes, because you're going to see wild pitches down there in the ACL. Remember, you remember that game just a few weeks ago when there was like 20 something walks, like 30 wild pitches. Like, it was an ugly game. Like, I think the ACL Reds scored like 30 runs that game, right? It was a crapshoot. But being able to just see the strike zone again and just get out of your head, it works. It's not a bad thing to get demoted. I think some people just think that you suck when that happens, but I would love to see him get back up to Daytona and just rake, and we could see him in high A again, or soon, not again. We see him in A ball again, and then get him up to high A. Just get him where he can just be confident again.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about Connor Phillips a lot in the show. He went all the way down to the complex league after he made
Triple-A.
Yeah, so like he went all the way down back to that. So it may be hard on the ego for a lot of these guys to kind of accept that assignment, to accept being demoted in that way. But Mason Neville has been performing pretty well. But we'll touch on that more. The guy I want to talk about is my guy Johan Cabeza. He has been fantastic. Like we've talked about already in the show, the first guy to get graduated from the DSL to the ACL league for this organization, and his stats have been fantastic, Ricky. Between DSL and ACL, it's been not a huge sample size, but a pretty good sample size. 13 1/3 inning, 0.68 ERA, 0.67 WHIP, 1.58 batting average against, 2 walks only to the 13 strikeouts. And this is including his 1 ACL start, which was fantastic that we talked about already. The 5 innings, 1 hit, 0 earned runs, no walks, and 4 Ks on 60 pitches. I think Carrick and I went back and forth because I think the box score had said like 24 pitches at one point for 15 outs. And I was like, dude, that is pretty efficient. But I think they might have a little bit done an undercount there. So I think official, the box score says 60 pitches for 5 innings, which is still pretty darn efficient for a guy that's making his stateside appearance for first time. So lots of positive things for Johan Cabeza. Lots of positive things also for your guy Christian Hunter Greene, who was supposed to only go 3 innings, ended up pitching 4. He had 2 hits. Sorry, I undersold it. He had 2 hits. ACL guys, the ACL Cubs got 2 hits off of Greene, and he walked a guy and struck out 6 on 54 pitches, 39 for strikes. So again, 2 really clean appearances from some pitchers at the ACL level. It's good to see, especially Johan Cabeza. Really glad to see him stateside and want to see more highlights from him, basically.
Yeah, Carrick in the chat, but if you could promote 2 players from any level, who would they be? Hunter Greene and Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah,
to the major leagues.
That's an easy one.
No, yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that one later because I do have some that I do want to talk about. But
for sure.
Yeah, Roger, you know what I like? You know what I like a lot?
What's that?
I like my Frost Buddy.
Okay.
The one and only can koozie that you need to keep your drinks cold all day long. It is without a doubt the coolest product I've ever had, ever used. And I'm not just saying that. I swear by this product. It is the greatest invention of all time. Better than the light bulb, some would say. And, it fits any size can. It holds your normal 12-ounce cans. It holds slim cans. It holds 16-ounce cans. It holds any size beer bottle you want to hold. It holds all the drinks that you need to keep you going through the Reds games, keep you sane. Whatever you need to have, it keeps you going.
Right. Shout out Frost Buddy, frostbuddy.com/RedHotReds. We got that URL in the corner, or URL right there, right on the screen. Also got the QR code that will be on the corner when we go back to our main screen. Check out the Reds products. Check out the college products. Check out all that. They got, it's past Father's Day. So, the next one, they probably have a bunch of USA 250 stuff out there. So check that out.
Do.
For those graphics, frostbuddy.com. So it's great product, great company. We're glad that they're on board with us. Helps them, helps us. So check them out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on.
They have all kinds of cool designs, different sizes. They've got water bottles. They've got to-go cup holders. Anything you need, they got it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Moving on from our ad and our DSL and ACL coverage, we're gonna go into Daytona. Daytona kind of having same
A
old
Daytona
type
week.
of. Yeah, I think they went 1-5 on the week, 1-4 on the week. They had a game canceled, I believe maybe the Saturday game. They finished up the week on Sunday, but it was kind of weird because they had a really great Sunday. Ichiro Kano, to the funny, a little bit of cheating. I was gonna make a joke and say like I would want Julian Garcia promoted, but they beat me to it. Anyway, so like they got a bunch of performances kind of in bits and pieces for your Daytona Tortugas, and Ichiro Kano had a pretty nice day on Sunday. I think a double away from the cycle is what I had texted you, and
Yep.
there are some guys that are starting to come on, like Pablo Nunez is starting to get a little bit more comfortable, I believe, at that level after having just one hit in his first week there. His second week went a little bit better. The pitching's a bit struggling, to say the least. I think Starlin Torres' ERA is still above 8. They promoted Kyle McCoy, and Kyle McCoy looks really good at Dayton, and we'll get into that in the Dayton recap. But maybe they need a shot in their arm too. Davey Villafana, I thought was a guy that possibly could be promoted to Dayton sooner than later with the performances he's had. He's dropped off a bit, so I don't know. There's a lot of ways we can go on this Dayton Tortugas week. What were your first thoughts, Ricky?
Yeah, it was cool to see Tyson Lewis back and healthy and playing. He was activated this week. I think he was activated for Tuesday's game. Hit a home run on I think Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah, Friday. Hit a home run on Friday, I think. And Shingen Lin, I'm not sure what to think of Shingen Lin. I think he's got a lot of potential. I kind of liked his bat more than I liked his pitching. Um, I know he struggled pretty mightily last year hitting, and I think they kind of made that decision when he got to Daytona last year to really focus on pitching. But
Mm.
I think his value's probably higher as a hitter. But I mean, a 4.89 ERA is not terrible for somebody who's really in their first full season on the mound, who was kind of used as that two-way player for 2 seasons. So I just I'm a little concerned only because his fastball is not an overpowering fastball, and he's really got to locate his breaking balls. And when he's not, that 93 to 94 mile per hour fastball is just going to get crushed. And that's what I find concerning for somebody who's like a top 14 prospect, top 15 prospect. And he's not a big guy. He's like, what, 5'11", I think. He's not like a dominating presence on the mound either. I don't know what to think. I'm not trying to speak too negatively about him because I think he could develop. I'm not saying that he can't develop, and his fastball has shown the ability to hit in the mid to high 90s in the past, which is why I'm a little concerned because he's lost the value on that. But I'm not sure what to think. But I think the offense for Daytona is really missing Jacob Friend. And obviously Jacob Friend deserved to be promoted, and he probably deserves to be promoted again just based on how he's playing in Dayton. But I think Dayton overall, they're just kind of all underperforming at the moment. And maybe a refresh in the second half, like kind of just reset, everything gets reset, and then see what happens. But I think getting another influx of talent from the ACL, like an Adolfo Sanchez, like a Juan Brown, like Eli Pitts, and then I'm not sure. Have you heard any updates on Aaron Watson? It doesn't show injured list on the transaction log or anything, but he hasn't pitched since like May 25th. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
Well, there's this special thing with the ACL where they can put him on a reserve list. Hervin Murillo even got on the reserve list if they want to work on something specific. Basically, and maybe just give him some rest from playing or whatever it may be. Maybe try some different guys. They kind of rotate guys in every so often. So like Murillo went on that reserve list for a bit. It could be what's going on with Aaron Watson. Maybe just give him a little bit of rest. I don't know, since he is a first year playing professionally, right? Like they might be also on some sort of innings limit as well. But anyway, yeah,
That is true.
Shingenlin started to straighten some good starts back to back, and there was one start maybe a couple weeks ago where he didn't make it out like the third inning because he had like a really high pitch count. Wasn't locating pitches and walking a bunch of guys. It was kind of interesting. I thought he was starting to get it going pitching wise for Daytona. Was kind of a bright spot for a little bit pitching wise because, yeah, I mean, Luke Hayden made a rehab start this week and went 2 innings, but like Justin Hensel, a guy that was maybe to be in the ACL this year, went to Daytona mid May or something like that, or shortly after like the season started in April, and he's been struggling too. Like he gave up a bunch of runs. His ERA is over 7. Same thing with like Dusty Rivas. That was a guy that was an ACL, got moved up. So they're trying things in Daytona. It doesn't seem to be working, at least overall as a team. Obviously, they're not here to win, the Florida State League. They went to the playoffs last year behind the power of Alfredo Gino and, Mason Neville and
Kian Vu.
Yeah, so like they had a bunch of guys that are now in Dayton that are maybe causing how well Dayton's been playing, right? And they made the playoffs for the first half of the season. But anyway, the point I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of guys that are still trying to figure it out, still trying to get affiliate ball going, at least hopefully rolling in the right direction. Tyson Lewis as well as one of the in that list as well, still hitting in the 220s, 230s and striking out probably way too much than we would like. But yeah, there's signs of life, just small signs of life. I mean, the guy that we'll talk about, Mason Neville, signs of life there. He might be a guy that might come back to Daytona and possibly, inject a little bit more offense and some positivity there. But the guy I wanted to talk about is Ichiro Kano. Like this week had a pretty decent week, notwithstanding, going 1-4 for the team, but he was 8 for 20, hitting 400 for the week. In 5 games because they had the one canceled, 2 homers and 6 RBIs. So like, and his OPS was 1.355. So shout out to Ichiro Kano. He had also been kind of struggling. His batting average in that 230, 240 range for the majority of the season, if not lower. So like, that's probably the one little small bright spot that they have going, at least at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I guess kind of going back to Carrick's comment from earlier about 2 prospects I would move up from any level. I think those 2 that I would have to choose if I just had to pick 2 right off the top of the head, it would probably be Hervin Murillo to move up to Daytona to be catcher, and Jacob Friend to Double-A, I think would be my 2 that I would pick. And if I had to pick a third, Jose Acuña to Triple-A.
Yeah, I would say the ones that are coming to mind for me are in the later portion of this, channel. So I don't know if I'll hold on to mine. So I guess it'll be a little bit of tease to keep you engaged. But my guys I'm thinking of are like Chattanooga guys to Louisville and Dayton guys to Chattanooga. But
I mean, I've got my dream one that we probably all know what it is, but
yeah, he's like in the 220 range in batting average.
Yeah.
So
he's cooling off.
Yeah, just a little bit. There's a lot of guys that are in that. I mean, even Angel Nunez is not hitting 400 anymore in the DSL. He's kind of got the 330 range. So, different strokes for different folks. But anything else about Daytona before we move it on?
No, it'd just be nice to have them get a little reset and then kind of see if they can get hot at the end of the season. Yeah,
it is the basically the second half of the season that started for the minor leagues. Thursday, I think, was the last day, the cutoff. So like Friday, Saturday, Sunday games were technically a new season. And this, upcoming Tuesday, definitely be hopefully a fresh reset for a lot of these teams. But Dayton seemed to be in a good spot, even though that they may have some guys that get promoted going forward. They had a 4-1 week to clinch the first half playoff berth, which was their first time they've done that for the Dayton Dragons since 2007. Ricky, that's nearly 20 years ago, which is kind of crazy to think about that. But
I was in high school.
Yeah.
I think I was freshman in high school, to be exact.
Yeah, right. There you go. But yeah, Dayton had lots of different performances all over the map. That you talked about Jacob Friend. Carter Graham there for Mr. Carrick is an outstanding performer yet again for like third or fourth straight week for Dayton. A guy I'd like to talk about is Kyle McCoy. But like, what were your first thoughts on the Dayton Dragons this week?
Yeah, I mean, Jacob Friend is just just a really good talent, and I think last year was kind of like get your feet wet as a professional, and he saw the struggles offensively. This year, going in preparing as a professional, everything you're not going from a college season straight into, you know, the professional ranks where you have an off season to prepare mentally for what's going on. I think that's showing, and from talking to him, he has goals in mind and he's well on his way to hit those goals, I think. And he's hitting what over 320 on 304 on the season as a whole. And last year he hit just 179. So I mean, if you judge somebody off their first year, you're first of all kind of crazy, but two, like, you know, some of these lower like mid major colleges can really surprise you with like the talent that they have. And he's been just one of those ones that has been a really big surprise. I think especially for me, but I'm sure like a lot of people just, be a friend, tell a friend. He's a really good baseball player. But and Kyle McCoy has, like you said, just going from Daytona, he was pretty solid, but there was nothing like eye catching with what he was doing. But now that he's in Dayton, it's like everything's clicked and he's just knowing what to do and throwing strikes and getting guys out. And he's been a really, really good surprise too. I think he can be a pitcher that really develops into something that could be, like a third or fourth starter, major league quality arm. At worst would be like a fifth starter, long relief kind of guy in the major league level. But he's what, like 23, 24 years old. So he's still fairly young. So I could see them, if this continues, maybe towards the end of like August, you could see him come up to Double-A and see if he can help Chattanooga if they're in a playoff race. He could help kind of bolster that rotation, especially if they do end up promoting one of, if not both, Acuna and Nestor Laurent.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, Kyle McCoy has been fantastic since he's been to Dayton. It's just been a couple weeks, I think. His last two starts, and he was supposed to start twice this week, but the Sunday game got canceled. So he only was to start one time this week, and I was really looking forward to the Sunday start for him. But going back to the last two starts for him for stats, he's gone 11 innings, gone 2-0. In those 11 innings, just 5 hits against, 1 earned run, .82 ERA, and .64 whip. Like, he's just, and his delivery a little unconventional. He's got that long 6'6" lanky frame that maybe he's hiding the ball a little bit with that big left arm that's making it hard for those hitters to kind of pick it up out of his hand. But it's been super effective and just been great to see. Like I said, I was really looking forward to a Sunday start until the game got canceled with rain or whatever in Peoria. But it was really refreshing that he's going to start Tuesday this week. So I'll be definitely tuning in for that to see Kyle McCoy again go out there on the mound, the big lefty. And yeah, the Dayton Dragons overall have been fantastic. The week before, Ricky, in their homestand, the week before this, they hit 18 home runs in 6 games. And this week, they had one game canceled, and it felt like they hit just as many, but they hit 15 home runs this week in 5 games. So they're literally averaging 3 homers a game, and depending on what game you catch them on. And the doubleheader that happened on Thursday, I think, because the Wednesday rain out, like, fell perfectly in their lap in terms of if they win both those games, and I think the other opponent lost, they would clinch the first half of the season right then and there. And did they ever? The second game of that doubleheader, they 18 runs with like 8 or 9 home runs, it felt like, and it just in bunches. And I was watching that game really because of the fact they're going to possibly clinch that day, but like just watching our guys just time up pitches and everything, like Alfredo Duno was not in the home run party at all that day. Like Alfredo Alcantara was, Jacob Friend was. Obviously, he hit I think 2 that day, but like so in the first at bat for Friend, just to break this down, just the real minutia, he was going up against the number 9 prospect, and I think Peoria is for the Cardinals. I want to say the number 9 prospect for them, 10 or something. Didn't really time up his pitches that well. This guy is throwing like 96, 97. So he's a really big prospect for the Cardinals. This is no schlub. This is no guy that they're just throwing out there just to eat up innings. He was not timed up real well, and it struck out his first at bat. And I remember even telling my wife this because I was like, Jacob Friend, man, he gets on fastballs. If he times it up, it's going far. It's not a situation where if he times it up and barrels it, it's going to be just a loud out. The next at bat he comes up, I think it was 2 on or 1 on, barrels one, a little bit inner and a half of the plate, which is crazy how he gets his hands in to barrel it, just right center, easily home run, just like 400 possible feet. Just I couldn't believe that he's got this power still moving from Daytona to Dayton, right? You think that a little bit of the pitching quality would be better, and it is. That high A pitcher for the Cardinals is no schlub. Like I said, was throwing 96, 97 at tops against our Dayton Dragons. But dude, they messed him up. I think he ended up leaving 3rd or 4th inning with like 6 or 7 runs to his name at that point. It was just a really interesting perspective on how well this Dayton Dragons team has performed this season. They got these guys that can just hit whenever. And this is, like I said, without Alfredo Duno really doing much in this series or the last week or so. He's hitting in the 260s. This is like Kian Vu. This is Alfredo Alcantara. This is even Yerlin Confidant's getting hits. And then obviously our guy Jacob Friend just been mashing. It's a sight to see to watch the Dayton Dragons for sure.
Yeah, I still need to plan on getting down there sometime to see them play because it looks like they're a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, I did want to shout out 2 pitchers and a hitter before we move on. Jacob Edwards, he's from Richmond, Kentucky. He pitched on, I think, the game 2 of the doubleheader on Saturday in the 3-1 win. He ended up getting the win. He pitched 4 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. His ERA is at 1.26, and he's a little guy. He's 5'9". Good to see from him. And then Reynaldo Cruz in, I think it was the Saturday game or the first game 2 of the doubleheader. His ERA isn't, spectacular by any means, but I'm trying to find what game it was. I want to say it was Friday. I lost my notes. Yeah, it was Saturday's game. He his ERA is 5.28, but he went 5 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. And it was really good to see him kind of bounce back after kind of struggling here and there throughout the season. He's had some really dominating starts. He's had some subpar starts, but Kian Vu is someone that I really wanted to highlight too. Just he had the 2 home runs, and I think it was back-to-back games, which would have been game 2, I think, of the doubleheader, and then on Saturday he homered. His power has showed up in Dayton, and it's been fun to see. I don't know if you saw Dayton had a mic'd up segment with him.
Oh, really?
It was he's entertaining. I mean, obviously we've talked to him, and he's a really cool guy to talk to. But just seeing him, he's talking about like speaking broken English to guys, and he's like, "I'll say the same 3 words. They'll say the same 3 words back to me, and we acknowledge each other and we move on." And talking about the allergies and all the pollen in the air in Dayton, because he's never played north of like Florida or Arizona.
Yeah,
so it was really cool to see that. So it was really cool. Was that 2 weeks ago? He had that walk-off steal of home.
Yep.
I mean, he's just been the entertainment factor down there in Dayton. And it's cool to see guys like him step up when Duno's not being that dominant presence. And Carlos Sanchez has kind of cooled off a little bit over the last week or so. Guys like Kian Vu, like Jacob Friend, like Yerlin Confidant, the guys that can step up, and you can still score 18 runs with those guys when your main boppers aren't playing, is just really cool to see. But Kian
Yeah,
Vu,
yeah.
he's been spectacular.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And Carter Graham's been great. Just
Yeah,
that's my guy. Carrick kind of stole it with the Chattanooga. That would be my promotion because I think Carter Graham is ready. He hits in bunches, and it's just been crazy. He plays first base, so that there may be a little bit of logjam there with Big Rubabara there, but I'm pretty sure that I think Carter Graham has earned a promotion up to Double-A based on how well he's. It's not just been 1 week. It felt like 4 straight weeks of just mashing the ball.
yeah, and we'll go ahead and say it. Future guest Carter Graham.
Hey, heard it here.
You heard it here
Yeah,
first.
that's Daytona, or that's Dayton. Sorry, I did the thing. That's Dayton. Also, want to point out Cody Adcock got promoted to Chattanooga. He's been a solid reliever for your Dayton Dragons. He was the first guy to get promoted from this mid-season thing where a bunch of guys are probably going to get moved up. Maybe more than well, it depends. I guess it depends on the roster size. We'll see what ends up happening the next couple of days with transactions and whatnot on who's going to be where. But shout out to Cody Adcock. He moved up to Chattanooga this week.
Yeah, one last thing before we move on to Chattanooga. You remember when we talked to Jacob Friend what his goal was for the season?
Yep.
20 home runs, 20 stolen bases, 20 doubles.
Mm-hmm.
He's at 14 home runs, 13 stolen bases, and he is at 15 doubles. I think he gets it.
Yeah, you're going to get it this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome.
He's awesome. He's great.
For sure. So shout out to those guys, Dayton. Good luck in the playoffs, even though there may be some guys that get promoted before that. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening there. Moving on to Chattanooga. They had a 3-3 week, kind of a little bit up and down. Some good performances. As we talked about, Jose Acuña had a pitcher of the week worthy appearance this week. Only one start this week for him. Also, another decent performance out of Jonathan Harmon, who's been really good. I think he's 7-2 or 8-2 on the season for Chattanooga. His ERA
wins machine.
Yeah, his ERA has been great. I think he was up in the 5s and the 4s, but he's bringing it down slowly down. I think it's somewhere in the 3 range right now. So just been eating innings as well because he goes deep in innings. He's not a guy that's 5 and dive. I think he goes if he's on his game, he's going 6 to 7 to 8 innings possibly. Same thing with Acuna as well. I think they almost pitched him a full game once. We went 8 innings and had 13 strikeouts. So it's been good stuff, at least pitching wise for Chattanooga. But what were your first takeaways from their week?
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit towards the worry about Cam Collier side of things. Obviously, I'm not going to give up on Cam Collier. He's 22 years old, but he went over 4 3 times this week. He had a 3-hit game on Tuesday, but he's hitting just 218 with a 676 OPS on the season. I don't know what that is. I don't know if the thumb issue last year, I don't want to say it's bothering him, but maybe his swing got changed from dealing with it last year, and he's just kind of trying to power through it and work through getting the swing back, which it can be a thing. I mean, we're kind of seeing with Matt McLean at the major league level with the shoulder. You adjust your swing based off of comfort level, and it may not be your swing. So maybe that could be something because he's got a sweet stroke. It's a beautiful swing. Gap to gap power, line drives. It's kind of like a left-handed hitting Sal Stewart. And when he's on his game, he's obviously a top prospect. He was a top 100 prospect for a couple of years, and he fell out of that. I think he can get back into that, but I'm starting to worry a little bit just because we're coming into He basically played a full season at Double-A last year. I think he played in Dayton a few games, ACL a few games. I don't want to say I'm concerned, but I'm starting the trend in that direction. But yeah, and then Jose Acuña, like I said earlier, he would be a guy that I would promote the Triple-A. And that trade that we sent Tyler Naquin to the Mets to get Hector Rodriguez and Jose Acuña. I wrote about Acuna and I wrote about Acuna today. 2027, you could see both prospects from that trade on the major league roster. And that's a win. That's a win. You don't see those kind of trades happen very often.
No, thank you, Tyler Naquin, for your services in Cincinnati. But yeah, that's big win for them on that. And I guess that's another argument for this type of trade that you think it's not going to turn into anything, and then all of a sudden we've got two possible top prospects that will be in the majors sooner than later. But
yeah, and you can everyone harps on Nick Kroll, which he deserves some of it, obviously, but those kind of trades that he makes like that, I mean, those aren't very common trades to be made. Like Naquin wasn't like a really sought after player. I mean, yeah, he was having a decent season, but he had like 18 home runs that year for the Reds. And, you get two basically 17 and 18-year-old prospects in 2022. That takes scouting. That they probably had their eyes on them guys coming into the international signing periods, the years they were in. And they knew who they wanted to get, and they got them. And they knew how to develop them, which is working. But I mean, you just don't see trades for two basically DSL prospects become MLB players.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been kind of an interesting week for Chattanooga. They had, their split week, but like Collier, like Leo Balcazar, they've kind of cooled off. They had such a great start to their season, winning 16 of the first 17 games or whatever, just kind of being the team of the organization, just killing it. But like of lately, it's been kind of slim pickings for that. I mean, you still got guys. Who's actually been kind of a little bit of a bright spot? It's a guy they just picked up, Julio Carreras. He hit his first home run just yesterday and is hitting 250 for them, playing infield, outfield, wherever they need him. It makes you wonder if they are going to start making some movements up to, put in some different, guys in different spots to earn the jobs at the next level, what have you. Because they've also picked up, I think, another guy in Louisville just recently, Sam Haggerty, who just started playing. So I wonder what the depth is, what these depth pieces are for. If these are just kind of stopgap measures, or these guys that they're. And also, I think Stephon Moore. Oh,
yeah, he's been incredible.
Yes,
he's been incredible.
He's been really good. On Sunday, 2 innings, 2 strikeouts, 0 ERA. Hasn't given up a run since he started playing for your Chattanooga Lookout. So he's looking good. An indie ball pitcher, I believe they picked up off of just kind of free agency, just out of nowhere, and he's been pitching really well. And we kind of know a guy that had that similar route going from indie ball to Chattanooga, and now is at Louisville. So maybe Stephon Moore is going to be a guy that sticks around more, not just a plug and play kind of guy, just to be a stopgap measure. But we'll see. The promotion I wanted to see, just to get to that before we go anywhere else, I want to see Carlos Jorge in Triple-A. That's the guy, because he had a good 2-3 stretch and still hitting, I think, above 300. Didn't play in Sunday's game, which is very interesting. I don't know if that's just rest, or maybe we're going to see some transactions. Stay tuned for that. I think maybe Carlos Jorge is in Louisville sooner than later. I mean, he certainly deserves it. He's got great defensive prowess and has been hitting. Oh, he's 330. Sorry, 330. He's above 300. He's hitting 330 still. So, he's a guy that definitely could be a center fielder for the future for this Cincinnati Red Legs organization.
Yeah, and how crazy would it be to see him get called up to Triple-A before 40-man Rule 5 draft protectee Leo Balcazar?
Yeah. Leo's been struggling, man. It says 242 average. He had a week, I think, last week where he hit a couple home runs, but he's not been as consistently playing well. I mean, he's been moving all over, kind of the infield, shortstop, and second base, kind of figuring out like what his future major league position is going to be, or what position he's going to play in Louisville. Because heck, Edwin Arroyo might be back in Louisville this week, based on our assumptions of what they're going to do with Ellie and McLean and whomever. Well, yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, what they do with Leo Balcazar, because you're right, he's on the 40 man, but I don't see him in Louisville anytime soon.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on Stefan Moore just a little bit more, no pun intended. He was a late round pick in 2018 by the Rays. He was unable to get past high A. He had an ERA of 5.68 and 31 2/3 innings. 41 strikeouts, 25 walks. He bounced around independent ball a little bit, went to Australia for a little bit, just never really kind of found footing. And he goes to the Kansas City Monarchs of I forget what league they're in, but really just started dominating there. He had a 1.61 ERA in 22 and a third innings over the last 2 years. 34 strikeouts, 14 walks. And it was just really cool to kind of hear like quotes that was coming from him and from the coaching staff of that team. Moore said, "I'm in the right spot physically, mentally, and spiritually to accept this opportunity with the Reds. It's a dream come true." And then their manager, it was just, it's cool kind of just hearing these stories. He's like, "It's an amazing part of this job to be able to tell them that one of their dreams has come true. We wish Stefan all the best." And hearing Moore speak about his manager and the Monarchs team, he said, "I appreciate the coaching staff and the organization for everything that they've done. They've hosted." He also thanked his host family because they don't make that much money playing independent ball. So he had a host family, Dennis and Donna. He said, "My host family provided me with the home away from home. A big thanks to my family for always being in the corner along the way. It's something I will cherish. The Monarchs and my teammates are very special to me, and I thank them." And it's just really cool because he's really picked up right where he left off with Kansas City and playing in Double-A. He's like you said, hasn't allowed a run yet in 3 games. So he's looking good. And I think, should that trend continue, he has Triple-A. If that happens, maybe next year he makes his major league debut. You never know. He's 28 years old. Maybe he has like that Julian Garcia type, story where you're in your 30s or late 20s and you make your major league debut and you can make an impact.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll touch on Julian Garcia for sure in this next segment. But yeah, that's a great comparison there. And you know what? Yeah, I mean, this guy's going to be hungry for it. So he's not going to take his position for granted or anything like that, and has really taken advantage of his opportunity so far this week for the Chattanooga Lookouts. So yeah, shout out to Stefan Moore. Good stuff so far. Anything else about Chattanooga before we move it on?
Just shouting out Ryan McChrystal, 4 RBI day on Sunday. Other than that, Ruben Ibarra, 3 RBIs, hit a home run. Yeah, I mean, Big Ruben.
Yeah, shout out Big Rube. Louisville had an interesting week, 3-3. Some decent guys decent performances from some guys that the usual, Michael Tolia, home run, the usual pitching performances from, I think, LeBrant had a pretty good performance this weekend. So like it's been pretty good for them, adjusting, I guess, to the post Edwin Arroyo life. You got Hamster still there, but maybe there is a potential shakeup with a different moves and whatnot in the midseason. But Hector Rodriguez is still doing well. We have potential. Maybe Carlos Jorge will be playing center field there maybe soon if I get my way.
Yeah.
We'll see. But what were some takeaways for you for the Louisville Bats?
Yeah, it was really cool seeing Ellie De La Cruz finally get the Triple-A, and he had a home run in his second at bat, hit the single up the middle, took a walk. goes 2 for 2 with a walk in his first game on Friday. Just really good talent. I think we're really excited to see him in Cincinnati to see what he can do for the Reds and give this Reds offense a boost. But no, in all seriousness, Hector Rodriguez, I think we keep talking about it, but I think he's major league ready right now. He has kind of cooled off after that insane week that he had, where we talked about him on last Monday's show, where he goes, hits for the cycle, has like a 2 home run game like a week before that. Did you know he was just the 5th player ever in like any level of baseball to hit for the cycle and have a 2 home run game in a 2-week span?
Yeah, it's pretty special.
Do you know the players on that list?
No, I can't. Maybe Ellie. Maybe.
No. It's players you're not gonna believe. Joe DiMaggio.
Okay.
Lou Gehrig, I believe.
Okay.
Hey, I'm gonna get the official list.
All right.
Because MLB.com talked about it.
Yeah, I would say Hector's week was great. He went 7 for 19, hitting 368, on base at 478, and 737 slugging. He just continues to slug. That's the craziest thing to me, is that he hasn't stopped mashing, kind of like Carter Graham, just keeps mashing every single week on week, which is great to see. But you say you got your list?
I do. All
right.
So, we have Jim King in 1964. You ready for these other 4?
Sure.
Ted Williams in 1946. Joe DiMaggio in 1948. Adrian Beltre, 2012.
Oh. Okay.
And Jose Altuve in 2023.
You can see that. Oh, that's recent. That's only 3 years ago.
4 Hall of Famers on that list.
Yeah. Jim King's is that Jim King?
Yeah, Jim King. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with his game if he is, but neither here nor
there. He's
an
11 WAR player for his career. He last played on September 24th, 1967. He was 35 years old and 28 days. He died in 2015. He played for a number of teams. He played for the Cubs. He played for the Cardinals. He played for the Giants. He played for the old Washington Senators. And in 1967, he played for 3 teams: the Senators, the White Sox, and the then Cleveland Indians.
Okay. All right. Shout out Jim King. Not a Hall of Famer, though, because I think Ellie's at like 11 WAR in the first 4 seasons of his career. So, it happens. But, yeah, great accomplishment for those guys. Can't believe Hector's in that name, but, I don't know. Is Triple-A count for that stat? But it's
well, the MLB article said any level.
All right. Cool.
There's only been 5 instances ever of a player having a cycle and a 3 home run game in either order within a 2-week span.
Yeah. And one of those
3 Hall of Famers and probably a future Hall of Famer in Altuve.
Yeah. And one of those home runs of the 3 home run game, one of them was inside the park, right?
Yeah. That's probably even more crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I have that stat track on there, or StatCast, whatever. Anyway, yeah, Hector is great. I still think the timeline is September. I know we've talked about it before. Even though that, unless things start going south after the All-Star break, and we're talking about a team that's 10 to 12 to 14 games under 500 and not really looking like they're going to make any push. But we'll see. There may be a lot of guys that we're talking about in that vein that are going to be called up in the later half of the season. But Hector definitely deserves a shot this season, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and TJ Friedel's kind of cooled off after that kind of great stretch of baseball he was playing down there. He's down to 282 or 262 average, 840 OPS. He has 3 home runs, but he's soon to be 31 years old. I think you ride with Blake Dunn at this point and just I think he cut bait at the end of the season, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But Jose Franco pitched really well in that shutout win in the I think it was a doubleheader day.
Yep.
6 innings, or no, that's wrong guy. I think it was 5 innings. Yeah, 5 innings, 2 hits, 5 strikeouts, no walks. And they followed that up with Luis May allowing 2 hits, no walks, and a strikeout. And then Trevor Kunsel followed him up with an inning, 1 hit, 1 strikeout, no walks. There's no walks that entire game by any bats pitcher, which was good to see because we've seen them kind of struggle with walks. They had a 14 walk game just a week and a half ago. So walks have been prevalent in this organization and it's there in Triple-A too, but just like Julian Garcia, I don't know if I bring up May just yet. If I'm bringing up another reliever, I kind of think Trevor Kunsel's earned a shot. I think he's at least earned to be in the conversation if there's ever another DFA and you need to bring somebody up. But I think May is kind of too unreliable with his command. We saw today that Maxwell got sent down. So those two are kind of in the same boat for me with that. And yeah, Michael Toglia, like you were talking about him, just continues to, the average doesn't scream at you at like 260.
Yeah.
But or 257 to be official. 895 OPS, 18 home runs. Like that's great stuff to see. And just going by his minor league career, he had a 30 home run season in 2022. So I think with him, it's just getting him to not strike out as much, and which is what being in the minor leagues is about. If you're not striking out, you're making your way up. I think if he cuts down his strikeouts, he's not overly striking out. He does have 79, but he's walking at a decent rate too. He's at 43 walks. So I think he's somebody that if there's an injury, we're seeing some trade rumors involving Suarez and Nathaniel Lowe. If you trade Nathaniel Lowe, you could bring up Toglia to play first base, DH, and play outfield. Like he could play all three. And if you trade Suarez, you just slide Stewart over to third. And I'm assuming Keegan Hayes comes back at some point this year. I'm assuming. I mean, I don't know what to think because his offense has been so bad. I don't know what they consider with that, but surely they're not going to DFA him, right? I mean, remember the last time I said that?
I wouldn't make any promises, rookie. But anyway,
I will dye my hair blonde if Ke'Bryan Hayes gets DFA'd.
All right, it's gonna happen tomorrow. Anyway, but yeah, it's interesting because there's a lot of those guys in that category of like, if the season goes a certain way, and it kind of echoes the comments that our great buddy Nick Kroll said that they're gonna wait and see on what they're gonna do. They're gonna see where this team is in a couple weeks and reevaluate. And that reevaluation could be selling and getting guys off the 40-man and getting guys like Toglia on the 40-man or Kunsel on the 40-man, or you know what I mean? Like then Julian Garcia is going to be a mainstay in there. It's a good question. A lot can change in a month. We're going to be having a totally different conversation at the All-Star break than we are right now. Right now, who knows? And yeah, the Ke'Bryan Hayes question is out there too. He might just stay there. He might have like a ACL, drive line, couple months session trying to figure it out, his swing and everything. Because
I got a take for you.
Okay.
I think you'll like this.
Oh boy.
The Reds place Ke'Bryan Hayes on the 60-day IL to open up a 40-man spot. Arroyo and McLean get sent down to Triple-A, and you add Francisco Urbaez to the 40-man roster.
This is when they're like 14 games under 500. Is that what we're doing? Feels like it. But yeah, Urbaia's hit his first home run in this season this week. So, not too crazy of a take, to be honest with you. And he's hitting 285. So, yeah, maybe.
He's got it back up. He's got it back up.
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. We can
Believe.
dream. We can dream. We can dream. I mean, we can also dream that the Reds are going to get above 500 and actually make some hay in this division. But I don't know anything about Louisville. They got left. Hopefully no more bias takes. I don't want to curse this guy. Because the last guy I said that I wanted on the 26-man roster got DFA'd immediately. So I'll just keep my optimism cautious, to say the least.
Well, no, not anything current, but Hunter Greene is scheduled to make a rehab start in Louisville.
Yep.
On
Tuesday,
tomorrow.
Yep.
Tomorrow in Louisville. So if you're in the area, get down there and see Hunter Greene pitch in Louisville. I'm assuming he makes one start in Triple-A and is possibly up with the Reds next week.
Yeah, could be.
So we're possibly 10 days away from getting Hunter Greene back on the Major League roster. And with the way Brady Singer has been pitching over his last couple starts, I think you can get a decent return. You're not going to get anything crazy, but he's looked a lot better over his last 3 starts. I think you could get something from him. And there's your plug and play. And Brandon Williamson, I think he's scheduled to make a rehab start here soon. I think he threw a bullpen today or yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a positive. And we're going to see Emilio Pagan this coming week in Louisville for a couple rehab starts. And he could be back by the end of the week going into the weekend.
Yeah. Lots of movement there. Guys getting back on the mend. Yeah, it'll be interesting how I'll be watching that too. Watching Kyle McCoy flipping back between Kyle McCoy at Dayton and Hunter Greene on
Need to get 2 screens.
Yeah, I probably should. But yeah, I don't know. Use a laptop maybe. But yeah, it is interesting to see what we're going to look like in a couple weeks, just rotation-wise. Pitching's always a premium. So yeah, they may get prospects for Brady Singer and maybe low A prospects at best. But that may be
if you can flip Brady Singer for another Jose Acuña and Hector Rodriguez, I mean, go for it.
I mean, maybe. I mean, yeah, that'd be most positive news that we can get out of that. But we won't know until 3 or 4 years later what those prospects turn into. But
hey, you know what? I'll take it if it means that we get to see Hunter Greene and Chase Burns on the mound. And I'm assuming not back-to-back games just by the way they pitch, but you can go Greene, Abbott, Burns, Louder, Lodolo, kind of in that order, and I think that's a pretty good rotation, especially if Lodolo can start figuring out. Not the Major League show, but I just had some thoughts in my head based off yesterday's show.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that'd be a great rotation, especially the way Burns has been pitching and. If Hunter Greene's going to look like he did in the ACL, it'd be awesome to see.
Yeah,
sooner than later. Just to do some healing on the timeline. So, but anything else about Louisville before we move on to our prospect of the week?
No, it
wasn't as chock full of different guys that seemed to be blown out of the water. Last week, Ricky, we had like so many guys, but we had like 3 or 4 that had a pretty decent week that could be in the conversation. Like we've been mentioning, Carter Graham and Jacob Friend have been mashing and doing great stuff. Kyle McCoy had been great. Ichiro Kano had a great Sunday that made his – maybe it was a little bit of stat padding, and maybe that's why his stats look a little bit better. But he's been picking it up little by little, so we wanted to give him a little bit of shout-out. But your prospect of the week is a guy that was on the Tortugas, is retooling in the ACL, and has been mashing, and that's Mr. Mason Neville. Was it 2025 4th-round pick that ended up in Daytona at the end of 2025, doing pretty well. Started off really poorly this season in 2026, striking out a lot, not doing a lot of different things that he maybe should be to keep his spot in Daytona. But his week, 10 for 19, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, hitting .556 batting average, and I think he had, what was it, 609 on base plus slugging was about 1.553, which is crazy. And the biggest thing that we probably should have put on here, Ricky, was for his week in the ACL, 4 walks to 3 strikeouts, and that's what you want to see out of Mason Neville. It's nice that he's getting the power. It's nice that he's getting the average up. But if he's walking more, he's striking out, that translates well to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. So what are your thoughts on Mason?
Yeah, it was really cool to see him kind of just retool, getting sent back down there, and showing the plate discipline. And I'm not sure, like, obviously there's no film down there in the complex league, so there's no way to tell how competitive the walks are. I know Clay Snowden had that infamous article about Noel V. Marte in Louisville with his walks, about how a lot of them were kind of uncompetitive, but still a walk's a walk. But just really, I know it probably comes off that I'm a negative Mason Neville guy. Like, I'm a huge fan of Mason Neville. I think his power, I wrote about him in my article on Jose Acuña. He led college baseball in home runs. Crazy power, legit big league power. And I kind of see a little bit of Jack Caglione in his game, just being that left-handed power hitter. And I think that was one knock on Caglione, was his strikeout rate. I don't think it was anywhere near as high as Neville, but a 43.3% strikeout rate is just crazy. Like, you're just swinging to swing. That's beyond Christian Encarnacion Strand. That's, you're striking out at nearly half your plate appearances. And he's cut that down. I think I talked about it earlier. He's down to like 24.5% with the ACL. Smaller sample size, but he was only at like 37% last year when he got the Daytona. So I don't know what changed. Maybe he's just pressing, trying to hit the home run. And I think now he's kind of realizing that he doesn't have to try to hit home runs. He can just hit home runs. And it's intimidating down there in the Florida State League. I mean, we've heard Jacob Friend talk about it. A deep fly ball to center field turns into a lazy fly out. So I don't think he's a line drive type power hitter. I think he's more of like a loft power hitter. So the power is really not going to show up for him there as much as it would in Arizona or in Dayton. So I think if he can get back up Dayton and just really focus on just the plate discipline aspect of playing in the Florida State League, his game is good enough. And when he gets to the higher levels, his power is going to shine. And I wrote about it. I said I think he could be a legit middle of the order hitter in the future. Like, he's got that kind of power.
Yeah, and he's definitely a guy that the Reds were high on. They took him in the 4th round, or maybe dropped the 4th round. But they're basically banking on this guy, kind of retooling, getting back to where he was, and hopefully he can gain some more confidence, get that plate approach right in Dayton or Daytona, and be able to get back out there. And then it's a matter of keeping that same consistent approach and discipline, to not be chasing, to not be swinging at terrible strikes. So yeah, shout out to Mason Neville. We hopefully will be hearing more and more about him in the positive, as opposed to highlighting maybe some of his struggles that he's been having this 2026 season. Yeah.
I think he just needs to retool, and he's showing that he has it. I think that gives him the confidence when he moves up. He'll get back and just have the confidence.
Yeah, he might be one of those guys that moves up because it's halfway through the season, and there may be some transactions we'll be looking out, for, if they haven't happened already. Shout out to Julian Garcia getting promoted to the Reds after being in the minors for what they said 8 seasons, drafted in 2018 or so, thereabouts. So like, it can happen. It may take a little bit longer than others, but you just try to get to the show. That's the point, trying to get there as quickly and effectively as you can. It may take some twists and turns, some bumps in the road, but you want to try to end up keeping an eye on the goal and getting there to Cincinnati.
Yeah. I wanted to point out this comment by Carrick. He brought up Carson Spires. I haven't seen anything about him. I looked up everything that I possibly could on Google and Twitter and everything else, and I'm just not seeing anything. I'm hoping there wasn't a setback. I know he had Tommy John around May of last year, I think. So he was one of the first guys cut in spring training. So we'll see. I'm assuming if he's healthy, we'll probably see him at least throw some bullpens and probably be in the complex league within the next probably month or so, I would assume.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep tabs on it. To be honest with you, I kind of forgot about Carson Spires, and he had gotten injured and haven't really heard much rumblings about him since his injury and being put on the. I think he also got DFA'd and then got signed onto a
minor league deal.
Contract. So it's been kind of quiet on the Carson Spires front, and we'll keep an ear to the ground and see what's going on there. But yeah, anything else you got, Ricky, before we wrap it up?
No, I've got nothing.
Yeah, I really appreciate everyone tuning in. Went live for the first time in a while. We're gonna try to maybe go live every so often to try to get some stuff. It's halfway through the season. We're getting to the more important parts of the year, at least for the major league club, and promotions for the minors and guys that are progressing well, keeping tabs on them. We're starting to see some bodies of work from some of our bigger stars, some of the guys, like you said, have been kind of concerning. I've been trying to work through it. Still got a lot of baseball left, so we'll be there covering it. We'll be there to talk about it on Minor League Monday. Really appreciate all the fans that have tuned in and subscribed and all that. I want to shout out, I guess, before we go, if you made it this far, please like, comment, subscribe. Check out All Gloves Off podcast network. Got all those shows. Got Mike and Cheese on the Tuesday show for Lights Out podcast. Got Football with Cheese. Got what are the other one? Cheap Pop Society. Got Far End of the Bench we just added.
Boys Unleashed.
Yeah, so check all those out. All Eras with Sirhan. So check all that out if you made it this far and stayed with our meanderings about the minor leagues and the Reds. I really appreciate it. So please subscribe.
Yeah, and also check out Frostbuddy, frostbuddy.com/redhotreds. I'm not just saying it because they're a part of our show. I'm saying it because I am a very happy customer with how their products are. Like I say it every time. I use my cup, my koozie as a tumbler also, and I work in a very hot warehouse, and I put ice in it this morning at 5:55. And I got out of my car at 7:30. Still had ice. So it is a great product. And if it keeps ice for 12 hours, it's going to keep your drink cold for 12 hours too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out Frostbuddy. And yeah, extend Sal Stewart. That's all I got to
say. Extend Jose Acuña.
Yeah. Until then, go Reds.
Go Reds.